Okay, now, time to put it away. How easy was that?
No.
Pretty hard, isn't it? And I mean, you guys only had, what was there, 20? 30? I mean, considering that there's hundreds of thousands of species that have been discovered, you can see how much work it is to actually put these things all together. There's a couple things that I want to kind of look at on these. You guys all did a really good job. There's a lot of things that are good about them.
The right answer.
So, I want to point out on over here. This is a common thing that happens when people start looking at these. And they've done this a little bit differently than some of the others, but that's fine. But if we look right here, right? I think that it's better on the wrong side. It's probably supposed to be right here. They've got growth of horns, and then we've got bison and bull, and then they've got loss of horns. So one thing you want to look at in these phylogenies is, how simple is it? Things that are more simple are more likely to happen. If you have things that are like showing up and disappearing, showing up and disappearing, showing up and disappearing, that's a lot more complex. What you might see instead of growth of horns here and then loss of horns here is that on this split off, you get growth of horns one time, and the bison and the bull split. So instead of having these come off at different points, they kind of come off together and then split. And that's where the growth of horns. Right? I mean, those are things, I see those sorts of things on all of these phylogenies. Picking on these guys, I just think, that's a good example of where you can see, okay, they need to make it more simple. This way is more simple, and the other way is more likely that that's what happened. Okay? Another thing that I see a lot is, here's a good example. I mean, almost everybody's got this platypus. Platypus throws people. Platypus is a dirt crud. What's that? It's a dirt crud. Okay. And the thing is, most people focus on the whole bill of the platypus. It looks like a bird bill. But a platypus doesn't have feathers like birds do. So that kind of throws some monkey wrench into things. It also, but it does lay eggs like birds do. But it also produces milk. So
Weird, messed up animal.
it is a weird, messed up animal. So when you look at a platypus like that, it comes down to what are you going to consider to be the most important features? Are you going to say, well, the fact that it has a bill and it lays eggs, I think that's more important. That makes us think go with birds. Or are you going to say, well, the fact that it has hair and it produces milk, I think that's more important, and that's completely different. Nowadays, most scientists think that the whole egg laying and the bird bill aren't quite as important. They're listed as a mammal. And there's other reasons we do that. DNA and stuff like that. Because the platypus is a mammal, just like, walrus and things like that. And that can be hard. Animals like that seem to have kind of almost a mix. So some of those things, like the bird beak on the platypus bill, are analogous traits. They come by a separate situation because that can really throw you off. So, I mean, this was an exercise. There's no right answer. That being said, would you like to see the right answer?
Yeah, actually. It's ours.
No. There was one that was probably closer than some of the others.
You'll
have to see.
Oh, come on. Hello. I don't like.
So to cram them all on there, it was a little hard. But it turns out that based on these organisms, the organism that makes the most sense as an outgroup would be the sea slug. Right? As far as its body plan, it's much more simple how it's set up. Okay, and then would come the jellyfish and the octopus. I saw a lot of people that kind of put those together. They do have some features that are similar, But it turns out when you look at their body plans and stuff, that those lineages kind of came about separately. But if they're right next to each other, you're at least looking at those things. Hermit crabs and shrimp would be kind of closely related. They both have certain features, but they're actually going to be more closely related to insects than other things. They're all arthropods. They have an exoskeleton. So, and then, not knowing some of those features, that would be hard to put those on there. So the hermit crab, the shrimp, the cockroach, the moth, and the spider sort of all go together. But more closely related are the moth and the cockroach, and then the spider compared to the other things. Another thing that we see a lot of times is people will put the turtle and the largemouth bass close to each other because they're like both in the water, right? Well, but remember, where they live doesn't necessarily dictate how they evolve. A fish, completely different compared to a turtle, which is a reptile. So turtles are closely related to snakes, even though their features are very different on the outside. Their internal structure and the way they go through their life are very closely related.
I thought we only used it.
Yeah, but they've got scales, they've got that kind of stuff. So, like I said, I would have been flabbergasted. Well, actually, if anybody got it perfectly right, I would have known they cheated.
Oh.
Really.
Ours is really close.
Yeah, like I said, that one over there I think is probably the closest one, but I'm still not perfectly right.
Ours is a very.
Okay. So here, these are all mammals, everything over here. But the platypus is very different. It would kind of be its own group. It's in a group called the monotremes because it lays eggs and that kind of stuff. Koala bears are a type of marsupial. They're much different than some of these other things. And then you can see how they branch off from there. Now, the one thing that you want to look at, remember, when you look at these phylogenies, okay, these are just showing kind of how they split off and the relatedness. There's nothing saying that a Cocker Spaniel is somehow more evolved than a sea star. They've been through evolution. It's just they've changed differently. Yes, the Cocker Spaniel may have more derived traits, and have been, their ancestors may have gone through other types of, or more types of environments and changed more drastically than the sea star. The sea star is no more or less evolved. All these things are kind of on the same level. I mean, I couldn't fit everything up there, but the koala bear, everything should kind of be up here. All we're showing is that, hey, there's a common ancestor at each of these points. That's the point of a phylogeny. Okay? Now, on the test.
No.
Mr. Roark. On the test, you will get to build a small phylogeny of 4 organisms.
Oh, okay.
But I will tell you the traits that you are going to be looking at to build that phylogeny. So instead of you trying to infer, okay, what's the important traits here, I will tell you the traits in kind of a table. You just have to look and go, okay, these things are going.
Do that.
But,
Do that.
yeah, very similar to what you're going to do. That's the other thing we need to do today is to check that homework. So,
I have 4 finished. Where is mine? I must have done it. I don't think we have our.
I still have your homework cards, but I forgot to grade them until today. So, I don't know. Let's just go over it.
I must have gone
here you were supposed to build a cladogram. Of course, you wouldn't really do this for, I mean, you sort of can for objects that are not organisms, but you won't see it in most cases. So here we're separating it based on traits. So you got on foot, you add wheels. All of these things above that point should have wheels. That's the point. Right? So bike does not have a motor. It's got pedals. You could put right here pedals. The traits that you put on there, can be related to each other. But just putting motor here shows us that all of these things have motors and bikes do not. So motorcycles, cars, and then airplanes. Now one thing that I sort of forgot to mention the other day, this point right here, this common evolutionary heritage where the things split off, we call that a node.
Node.
I did forget to mention that.
They call it a point of swag, to be honest.
Node.
How do you spell node?
N-O-D. Node. You might be thinking nodule.
Like in your voice, can you have notes? Yeah,
Yes.
I got it off. Like nodes.
I don't know that for sure, but.
Haven't you seen Fit Perfect?
So, what trait separates bicycles from airplanes, motorcycles, cars? The motor. Things
And the
that is not
wheels.
common. Even the wheels. All of those things have wheels. They would not separate them.
They're not foot.
We're not talking about being on foot.
I said
Separates bicycles from airplanes, motorcycles, and cars.
Oh, I'm talking about the next one.
Okay. Next question doesn't really make any sense either. How many traits in common does airplane and motorcycle have? 3.
I only get 2 of them.
They do.
How do you, once they get on the ground? Yeah, I get that when I do it.
Airplanes and motorcycles.
Yeah, I put 2.
Wheels. Oh, you're right.
Oh, Mr. Roark, what's that?
I guess I don't know why I have a 3 there. My mistake.
Should be 4, shouldn't it?
Okay, so we talked about the node thing, and the number 6, which mode of transportation would be the outgroup? That would be on foot. It doesn't have any of those derived characteristics that are listed on the cladogram.
Wait, how does the airplane have 2 traits?
There's 2 trees and common wheel though.
Yeah, but they both have wheels, motor,
Motorcycles don't have any close passengers.
Oh. Oh, I understand now.
Okay, so here you want to look at the traits that each of these organisms have. And this kind of got erased. Humans have hair, legs, and a thumb. Of course, they have eyes. All of these organisms have eyes. A snake does not have hair. It does not have legs. It does not have a thumb. All it's got is eyes. Monkeys have hairs, legs, thumb, and eyes. A mouse has these, but it does not have a thumb. And so based on those, we can try to fill out this cladogram. So here, eyes has to come before all of the other organisms, or all of the organisms that we're listing, because all of them have eyes. Here, we would put both hair and legs, because everything beyond that has hair and legs. And then the thumb has to go here. Based on this, we don't have any traits to separate monkeys and humans. Yes?
Okay, so I've marked that snakes have legs because they kind of do have legs.
No.
We talked about
There are a couple of species that have vestigial knobs on the end. I wouldn't call those legs. Okay, and then based on that, humans, mouses have hair and legs in common.
And eyes.
Oh, and eyes, right. Good point. And then the snake and the mouse only has the eyes. Okay? So, this right here would be more the type of cladogram that I would ask you to draw on a test. Okay? So you have a certain amount of traits. Using those,
about the evolutionary relationship between like four things. Know those people.
What is this stuff?
Yes, this test will be Thursday. Tomorrow we have vocab quiz. We'll review. Test will be Thursday.
Like half the class are taking on test.
What's that?
Like half the class is taking on.
Sounds like there'll be some people taking tests on during CRT on Friday. Then.
No, they're going to be on Friday. And Monday, we have CRT on Friday.
We do have CRT in here on Monday. That is true. Friday and Monday.